Welcome to the Dance to Heal podcast. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how life is a dance. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that mind and body connected movement is vital to healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I created Dance to Heal Wellness featuring the Spotlight Confidence Formula and also authored the best-selling award-winning book, Outside In Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new ways to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Welcome to the Dance to Heal podcast, and I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. I'm very excited that you're here today because today I'm going to speak on a number of topics that have been very much on my heart. And as an elder in training, I get to really share them with you without any gatekeeping. I am an avid learner. I'm always learning. I never assume that I know everything. If anything, I only know the tip of the iceberg of what I need to know. And I recently discovered there was a reason why every time someone tried to guide me through breath work, I would get a subconscious little gut clench. Because I'm a survivor of complex PTSD, breath work actually, any type of breath work that's not controlled by myself, when it's cued by other people, is actually quite triggering for me. That word trigger gets used a lot. For me, I'm defining it as an automatic stress response that isn't something that I elect or want to feel. Breath work itself individually, if you've been doing it for yourself like I do on my own timing, when I'm trying to be present and paying attention internally to my body, which is called interoception. That's different than what I'm saying, which seems to be a trend lately, where everyone thinks, oh, breathwork is the shortcut to your authenticity. I want to tell you something. For those of us that have or are in the process of processing trauma through our bodies, having outward guidance of when we need to inhale and when we need to exhale can be something that would put us into fight, flight, fawn, or freeze response. So here's the thing. I'm Generation X. I know I look young, but I'm 57. That's level 57, according to Charlene Johnson. I love her so much because she talks about how every age is a level you level up every year alive. Every year that you are alive. Like I'm level 57 point, I think 8 now, because my birthday's coming up in a few months. And if I were playing a game, I wouldn't want to go down a level. I kind of like up leveling. And that's what life is. And I've noticed that my generation used to just, brush off anything that was hard because there really wasn't anyone to listen to us or even acknowledge that we were pretty much raising ourselves. And I know now, as a level 57.8, that my parents loved me dearly, and their love language wasn't what I necessarily understood it as. And it also can hold space for that little girl or that little child that was severely neglected because her parents grew up from very, very poor origins. And in that way, I can then guide myself when I have a reaction that's a trigger response. And I really invite you to know that you have that power too, of being able to understand when something is not for you. Breath work is not for anyone and everyone, especially when it's given online. And I've definitely made that error of myself doing that. Here's a bonus gift for you. And when I taught in the past, it was always in relation to being tuned into your 5 senses and then bring in breath work and then bring in movement. I've since adjusted. Even on my online classes and my Solar Circle membership, we don't cue breath work anymore. We try not to. We catch ourselves, we fix it. Because we're trying to add to the environment of learning for you to find safety. And it doesn't need to be an outward pacing of your breath. We want you to be present and be aware when you're not holding your breath and when you are. And that does, of course, lead to, well, what do you mean by, that there's a possibility that breath work isn't necessarily safe? And so let's define safety for a second. If you're on YouTube, you see me as an Asian presenting female. On the audio podcasting platforms, you hear my voice, and it's a little bit lower because of my hormone replacement therapy, I think. And in spite of it, I think most people hearing my voice would hear me as female or female characteristics, right? And my definition as an Asian American woman in her late 50s of safety is very different from someone who might be seen as white passing male in their 20s to 30s, 40s. And here's where I'm going to stop you right now. If you don't even understand that I'm saying there's a vast difference between the two examples of what safety might be, I need you to stop for a second and understand that if you don't understand that, this conversation that I'm presenting, this idea that I'm presenting to you, you may not get anything that comes after this. Okay? In the same way that I, as an Asian American woman, if I'm with my white passing husband, have a different sense of safety than if I had gone with, if I had almost dated someone who was this beautiful classmate from college, and he presented as an African American man. And that safety would have been different for him versus me with my white passing husband. And I think that's really important to understand that. Safety is very different for every person. Now, I am not saying that I invite unsafe behaviors. I'm just more aware of the possibilities of my safety being in question when I'm in a room and I'm one of the only females, or I'm one of the only non-white person in that room. I don't usually talk about things like this, but I want you to understand some of us have invisible disabilities that people are not aware of and not understanding that we're taking extra steps to ensure our own safety. For example, I have clients that have diagnoses of certain backgrounds where they cannot take certain lights in the room, or so they'll limit the time in that setting, or they'll get overwhelmed, or they may have overlying fatigue we're not aware of, and they'll be seated for most of the event, very rarely standing up. Or they'll leave early because they know they're about to burn out and they can't make the multi-day event. Okay, so just be aware of what safety really is. If I'm in a room and someone is unable to even fathom that I might have a different definition than the person next to me, that for me is something that I've noticed that I'm a lot more aware of. And I really urge you, watcher and listener, to be aware for yourself. What are your definitions of safety? And are the people that you're trusting with your time, your money, if you're getting coaching, your trust, actually, and even your energy, do they know that you know what's best for you? And are they paying attention to that? Or is it guided under well, I know better than you because I'm only a few steps ahead of you, but I know what's coming. Because here's the thing, everyone's lives and experiences are so uniquely different to each of us that we really oftentimes can strengthen the muscle that lets us know immediately if something that's happening is really good for us or not. So I really encourage you, if you're watching this or listening to this, that you pay attention to that if there's something comes up with you. Okay? So I once had a mentor that didn't understand my message of how everyone has a birthright to have the tool of dancing to heal. They didn't understand. They kept saying to me during coaching sessions, I don't get what you do. And I used to think, oh, that means that my message is flawed. And in retrospect, I now understand that this mentor of mine, who I love, is not my ideal customer. Because subsequently, I found plenty of customers afterwards when I started to spread my wings more and explore my own messaging instead of listening to everybody around me telling me how to do it. that I started to get more clients, or more people who were willing to trust my message, more followers, more people opting in to come on my podcast, or opt into my podcast, or opt into my gifts, or opt into my workshops, right? So sometimes, because there was recently this amazing was a social media post made by Gary Vee talking about, he's old school like me, like more Generation X. He was sharing how this whole term toxic positivity, he's like, what is this made up word? You have to find that post. I really felt it in my gut. So he was saying, he was advocating for positivity and not necessarily delusion, which he felt was relabeled as toxic positivity. And here's the thing. I used to think I was wrong to always want to see the positive in a situation, to find the silver lining, to see what I was saved from if I was disappointed from something, versus, oh, that's something that was taken from me, or the opportunity was taken from me. And I used to have a community that would say, oh, you're being toxically positive, like, or stop trying to, they also use the word delusion, delude yourself. And they didn't understand that part of my makeup is to see the positive. It was my resilience. Otherwise, I would just give up hope and not really want to be existing on this plane anymore. That's what got me through to the next minute. So I ask you, are you surrounded by people that rain on your parade that you need to have to keep yourself going? Because honestly, right, I'm here to tell you, nobody understands how hard your life is except you. Yeah. All right. So in doing that, understanding for yourself, if you're being positive about something, or maybe you're with a group of friends that really aren't your friends and you're living under the delusion, or the believing in that illusion, instead of finding better friends or expecting to be treated better by the people that you regard as friends and family. So be aware of that. And then I'm going to end on one other note this week. There are a lot of people saying that this is, so I'm not a strong educated person regarding astrology and the shifting of the times. I will tell you, I love the shift. At least I know I'm a part of this shift, where I know a person who is coming to me for mentorship or coaching or dance classes. I know that ultimately they're still going to know best what's for them. And my job is to help them strengthen that muscle. And I tell you now, if you're listening to this podcast or watching this YouTube video, are you surrounding yourself with people that know of your own strength and knowledge, and it doesn't relate to your education level? There's an innate part of you that has answers. And are the people that you're working with helping you to unlock those answers, instead of trying to give you answers and then gatekeep and then direct you according to their own agenda? Like, what do you actually need versus what everybody around you wants for you or thinks you should have? What do you need? I go one step further. What do you need to accomplish what you're meant to do? And when I say mean to do, it may be just realizing, hey, you know what? I was born worthy. Period. That may be your task. It may be, I was born to be a partner to this person, whatever that situation is, and to be there and have them give me what I give them. It may be, I was born this lifetime to write a book and lead a movement. Yeah? I was born to be a foster parent of kittens and save them, like the kitten lady, right? So what was the passion or the life purpose that you've been gathering your skills and experienced all these life's challenges that were equipping you to be able to accomplish? Okay? And if someone cannot understand from your safety, again, we can go back to that, what your own personal definition of safety and what you're willing to push and not push past. And if they're going to say to you, oh, I'm not going to argue with you for your limitations, make sure they even understand what those limitations are, and they don't talk over you in a way that makes you feel like you're inferior or shameful in some way, like you have a choice that you're trapped. Because I know if you had a choice, you would prefer not to be trapped, right? And some of that is just some of the answers we're looking for other people, from other people, actually are right here, right inside you. All right? Reminder that when you're on a plane and if they have to drop the oxygen mask off, it's always mask yourself first. Are you giving yourself enough self-care? Do you even know what I mean by that? If this is your first episode with me. Self-care means you take care of your body first. Did you sleep enough? I broke that rule already. I'm recording this particular episode for you at 4 o'clock in the morning because I did my nebulizer treatment too late because I had some bout of bronchitis. I'm better. But it's this residual, right? Did you hydrate? One positive to being up is that I get to catch up in all of my hydration. I have about 112 to 120 ounces of water per day, minimum. Okay, and a good portion of that has essential, the crystals, because post-chemotherapy, my gut has trouble absorbing hydration. This took me quite a few years to realize that, even though I could have been doing that from the very beginning. Start to put your feelers out. If you were female biologically, meaning even if you have a hysterectomy or had your ovaries removed or you still have your period or don't have your period, around the 40s, sometimes earlier 30s, we start to hit perimenopause and menopause. And I just learned in a conference that certain important glands in our body, like your pituitary gland, starts to calcify in your 40s. Your thymus gland here, which is in charge of your immune system, it's at its strongest and most fully working in your teens. And then from that point on, it starts to become just little fatty tissue. So by the time you're like my age and level 57, it's just a little fatty blob. The thymus gland itself isn't really there anymore per se. And so what do I have to do? I have to understand that there are certain components that my thymus gland secretes to manage my immune system. Okay? What are those elements, and do I need to supplement for those? All right? And also the pituitary gland, which is a very essential gland for our health. If it's calcifying, meaning calcification is calcium deposits are building in it over time, that means that the chemicals or the elements that your pituitary gland normally emits throughout your body for your health, if it's being in any way prevented because it's getting older, what other things do you need to be supplementing for? And start doing that research. The power is in your hands. And I would love for you to consider, what if you could get some answers instead of waiting for people to give them to you? When you really could just ask your body, which has been with you since before you were born, the only thing, for answers about what you need. Okay, thanks for your time. I'll see you next time. Thank you for being a part of the Dance to Heal podcast community. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Dance to Heal podcast with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of inspiring triumph and learn more ways that you can heal yourself. To work with me and continue your journey, visit danceandheal.com. Are you ready to move?